In this video, we'll demonstrate the wide range of instrument intensities needed in various lighting situations. So to start off with, we have what will in a minute be a very dark room lit primarily by a little teeny lamp and a candle and an iPad, which is dimmed all the way down. It won't be totally dark because I don't have the windows blanked out completely, but it's pretty dark. So for this part, what I've pulled out here is this little light, which is a pretty small light. This is like an 18-watt light. So it's like 1400 lumens, not super bright. And thought we might put an edge light. And for that, I have this Aperture MC, which is a 5-watt light, like 100 lumens, so tiny, tiny. So let's go ahead and kill the lights. It's going to get dark for a second. Okay, so that's what it looks like ambience, you know, that's obviously pretty dark. You can see the candle, the iPad, and that's about it. So now I'm going to go ahead and crank up my little wand light. Okay, and I'll turn that all the way up, and that is pretty bright. So at just that little bit of light, you know, it's as bright as you'd want it. It probably does not need to be that bright, in fact. Let me just bring this flag in a little bit so we can get a little more shading on the where the lamp is and the candle, so that stuff's not all blown out. And then I'm getting a little bit of shading on her also there with that. But yeah, so now it's pretty kind of a dramatic looking thing. That's pretty good exposure. Very small amount of light. And then say you wanted a little edge light, so I would turn this little tiny 100-watt unit on. You know, I can come in here and get a little hair light, kind of turn it off, turn it on. You know, I can get a lot of edge light going on with that wee little tiny light there, you know. So very little power, and you know, you can make a decent looking scene out of that. So I'm going to turn this off because I don't have it mounted. So now we'll just let all that sit there, and I will go ahead and open the drapes. You guys, should be a sandbag. There it is. Okay, hopefully that'll stay. Okay, so everything's the same. And actually, you know, the exposure is the same. So I've been, my camera here has been at a 2.8, and you know, that's a usable shot still. A little bit of flare coming in off the outside. But you know, suppose you would like to see outside. Say maybe you want to do like, say like that. Now I'm at an f/16. So now we are letting into the camera 1/32 as much light. I'm actually going to switch the white balance too. So the outside looks pretty good there, right? But these lights do almost nothing. You know, I can turn this light on and off, and you can see it, but barely. So if you remember our large aperture 600D, don't hurt your eyes here, it's going to be very bright. I can turn that on. It's a pretty darn big light. And that's putting enough light on her. Look how close that thing is. I mean, that's a really big light to be that close. I'm going to stop down a little bit more. So there's an f/20. You know, a light that big, that close. So if you remember this Aperture 600, so this is a 720-watt light, right? This thing puts out 22,000 lumens. That's a pretty big light. It's a lot bigger than these other things. And it takes that much light just to compete with the sun. And you know, we still got our nice exposure in the back, but hopefully, I don't know, is that Would you be able to do like a scene like that, or just going to kill you?
I mean, it
That's tough. Yeah.
Can I play a blind guy?
So, I mean, it's so really what you might do in a situation like that is net down the window. You might go in with a scrim or tinting and knock down the window because it's very hard. Now, you also could, with your time of day or your location selection or even props, you could have something out there that's not as bright. You could have trees out there or something, But with that background, it's so bright, you could definitely tint down the windows. But to get lights to compete with that takes this much light. And when I look at this, it's a little weird looking, I think, because it's still got that one giant light on the side of her face, and it doesn't seem very bright and sunny. Like the last setup was real dark and moody, which fit the scene. But this isn't very, bright and sunny like it is outside. So, I might just want to start adding lights. So we had that edge light coming from the MC before. I could turn that on, and it does absolutely nothing at all. It's useless. So I got this light, which is 100 watts, about 5,000 lumens. We turn that on. Watch your eyes. Okay, there you go. That's a little bit of an edge light. Again, pretty big light, but it's nice. It's motivated. It looks like it's coming, out from the window. So it's a nice light. I still, though, I'm not crazy about the dark side of her face. Again, all these are judgment calls, but I feel like I could use some fill light. So I'm going to take this Astra. Okay, so this is a 100-watt light, about 6,000 lumens. And I think it's not even going to be quite bright enough with the diffusion. So I pulled the diffusion off. I'm going to turn that on, and we're going to just use that as a little bit of filler. And there, now the dark shadow side of her face isn't quite as dark. And, now I feel like it's looking sunnier. I feel like that's looking like a pretty nice. I still feel like the props and stuff aren't quite as bright as I might like them. So really, I think what I would do here is just put an area light up, like another 600D up, from further back, lighting up the whole area, or putting a pattern across, or shooting a pattern through the window, or something to just lighten up the whole area. I don't have something like that prepped right now. I do have this Source 4 light over here. This is another 150-watt light, about 6,000 lumens. I can just pop this into the painting, and now at least we brighten that part of the background up, so that's not looking kind of shadowy. So now we got a good bit of brightness in there now. You could stick something else even in. So I just put a little into the flowers there, maybe, and every little bit. So, what I'm doing now is kind of piecing it together with multiple lights, and I'd rather probably just put up one big light than these couple of little lights. But, you look now at what we got here, and we've got, 1,200 watts of LED light. I mean, if this was the old tungsten days, you'd be talking about 6,000, 7,000 watts of light. A huge amount of power that we're using because we have a room with sunlight and we're looking out the window. Now, you could always just point back to the corner and not look out the window. And people always say when they're giving you rules of thumb for photography, don't put a window in the background. Well, that's why. But it looks beautiful. I love putting windows in the background, but you've got to adapt to it. So if you're going into a room lit by a candle, that's one thing. If you're going into a room lit with and you're trying to look out a window, that's like a whole different ball of wax. And you can have overhead fluorescent office lighting. I mean, you can have, you can be in a bar with weird colored background lights. There's all kinds of lighting situations you can go into, and you can't always just like turn everything off and start from scratch. So, selecting a location, selecting a camera angle, and understanding what the light levels are, doing a scout, understanding what you got to work with as a base, And then picking lights and setting up a lighting scheme that works with that is what you need to do to make that most effective. Click on the next video to continue. New videos drop every couple of days. If you like what you see, like and follow us on our social media channels. And everything is downloadable for free on our website, ruchiproductions.com.